Here, and welcome to another edition of Dragon Ball Super Reviews, in which I'm going to be reviewing Dragon Ball Super episode 58. And once again, just like my last episode or my last video in which I did the predictions for Dragon Ball Super episode 58, today I'm going to be doing a live review for the episode so you guys can hear me as I speak and as I think, and I can hear you guys as you speak there in the chat. And so today, I'm going to be reviewing this episode, and I'll start off by telling you guys exactly what happened. Now, kind of brief little spoilers for the people who are here early and the people who are watching the video right now after the stream is over. I thought this episode was decent. Now, I'm not going to say I thought this episode was amazing or as good as, say, the previous two entries or iterations of the Dragon Ball Super series, but with that being said, it's nowhere near as bad as, say, any of the worst episodes, and it's not, I wouldn't even say it's mediocre. I would just say it's decent. It had some cool stuff, and I'll tell you what happened during the episode, and then I'll get into kind of the stuff I liked, maybe along the way. So, basically, this episode started off the same way that it ended with, last week's episode, where Zamasu had shown up at Zuno's palace, asking him to tell him everything about the Super Dragon Balls. And, basically Zuno gave him the whole explanation that he gave to Bulma and Jocko that he had originally given them when he was first introduced. And that was, explaining the size of them, who they were created by, so on and so forth. But obviously Zamasu wanted a little bit more than that, and he was getting pretty annoyed with Zuno if you watch the episode and see what was going on between the two. And basically, after he was, at this point, after he had done given that initial thing, Zuno started showing Zamasu like this whole show in which he was showing him what happens when you gather the Dragon Balls together, when you summon the dragon, and then when you are actually getting a wish, which Zamasu himself was like, this is kind of corny, but it was pretty cool. I liked that scene because, we got to see a little visual demonstration. Of course, film and cinema, TV shows, cartoons even, animation are a visual medium, so showing it visually while doing the exposition, which this episode was very heavy on, is a good way to kind of ease and smooth out that transition. Now, when it came to that, after he was done giving him that explanation, Zamasu wasn't finished because he not only asked about the location of the Super Dragon Balls so that he could gather them, but he also asked about Goku. And he was asking Zuno even more than the 3 questions Zuno usually gives him. But of course, Zamasu is like, I'm a Kaio. If I really wanted to, I could just annihilate you, destroy you within an instant. I just want you to tell me where those Super Dragon Balls are, tell me about Goku, and I want that for my own evil purposes. And basically, Zuno had also told him, and this is some information we just found out, that apparently the Super Dragon Balls are inactive at this point in time. So it takes a year for the Super Dragon Balls, or a cockroach's lifespan, for some reason. I didn't even know cockroaches only lived for a year. I thought they could survive nukes, so I guess only for a year. Sorry, Fallout fans, but basically they're inactive for a year, so Zamasu can't exactly get them just yet. But maybe he'll have to use some of that time travel capabilities he has. But I'll get into that in a little bit. Basically, at this point, we then flash over to see the Earth, and we see everyone on the Earth, that had returned. Everyone is pretty much still in that situation where they look like they're going to die. Goku, Trunks, and Vegeta. And, Bulma finds the sensu beans, takes them out, and gives them to Goku. And the first thing I was wondering is, okay, this is what I was thinking. During the fight in the future, why did Goku not bring the sensu beans with him? And the reason for that is because it's apparently Goku is dumb, as we all know, and he forgot the sensu beans in the bathroom at Capsule Corp, okay? Now, that doesn't seem very likely even for Goku, but at least they gave us an explanation. I mean, it's kind of like the whole thing with Dende before they go off to the Cell games. You know, oh, I forgot to make it so that I can bring people back to life more than once. It's, you know, Toriyama's way of creating tension within the episode and within the story arc so that when they're actually fighting in the future, we're not like, well, why don't they just use the sensu beans? Why don't they just, you know, use this or use that technique? Why didn't they bring Dende with them so they can get, healed by him or Boo or somebody who knows how to heal? Because we know Boo knows how to heal too. And that's just a good way for them to create tension. So I don't really have too much of an issue with that. But then at this point in the episode, it pretty much gets down to them all speculating and trying to figure out how exactly, we deal with Goku, how we deal with Zamasu and this Black Goku character, or Black. And, it also comes down to how exactly did he become the way he is. And not only are Goku and friends there, but also Beerus is there. Whis and Beerus show up with the Kaioshin, the Supreme Kai from our universe, not Gawas or Zamasu or from another universe. And they're all speculating, and we get some cool shots and some cool scenes during this explanation. We have Whis speculating, saying perhaps Zamasu used the Super Dragon Balls to wish for, an essential copy of Goku, because after he sparred with Goku as a Super Saiyan 2 in the Kaioshin realm of Universe 10, he became interested in Goku's power. And Kaioshin does say that apparently after Zamasu had talked to Zuno, Zuno contacted the Kaioshin and told him that he was asking Zuno about the Super Dragon Balls and also for information about the... he was also asking him for information about, Goku. And so they start to speculate exactly who is this guy, how is everything happening here. And, it was a pretty cool shot. We also hear about how, they're speculating, so he went to the future with his time ring, a year into the future because he couldn't wait, so he could use the Super Dragon Balls the first time to create this Black character, and then go another year into the future and, bring himself immortality. And Beerus and Whis were basically speculating that the whole reason why he's doing this is not just because he's evil and he wants to kill everyone, blah, 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 blah. It's because he's searching for absolute power in order to enforce his own sense of justice. And as we know, Zamasu and Black are both about justice. They want to bring justice by wiping out the lower mortals, or Ningen, not humans in this case, but humans are among them. And so we also hear about how did he get that time ring? Well, it's likely that Zamasu killed Gawas in the future, just so that he could gain the time ring so that he could go to further in the future so he could activate all this. Now, there's no real explanation what this has to do with the future Trunks timeline. Maybe he goes to the future Trunks timeline to do all that as well. But the thing is that this is all speculation on their parts. We still don't know for sure if that's really what's going on. And that's furthering the mystery of this show. So that's something that I'm not too concerned about, although at the same time, it does also feel like a lot of this episode was taken up by that explanation rather than some, real explanation as to what's going on in the show. But even Whis says that, his theory still doesn't necessarily explain why Zamasu and Black have similar ki, if Black really is supposed to just be a copy of Goku, so the mystery goes on. But after this, we go to the future, we see Mai and Yajirobe, and we see the Resistance, and the Resistance are all basically down the dumps. Goku and Vegeta were defeated as well as Trunks. They had to go back to the past, and now they have another villain, another enemy that they have to fight, who this time I guess is immortal. So it's kind of a dire situation for them, which is kind of sad that has to happen to them, but at the same time, it's good drama, it's good tension, and I don't really have any issue with that. So after this, Goku, Beerus, Whis, and the Kaioshin say, okay, it's time for us to go to the Kaioshin realm of Universe 10 and possibly put a stop to all this, possibly figure out everything that's going on firsthand. and they go there, and then they talk to Gawas. And basically, at that point, they're saying, hey, Zamasu around. And naturally, Goku, being Goku, decides to, kind of give away the whole thing that, Zamasu in the future is evil. And Beerus obviously doesn't like that, hits the guy, but it's Goku. He survives everything, unless he doesn't, and then he comes back to life. Maybe Gawas will give his life to bring back Goku in this case, just like the old Kaioshin did. I mean, Gawas hasn't done anything of help so far, because he's kind of an idiot, just like all the other Kaioshins, which is, kind of a problem, but that's basically what happens. Now, aside from that, after this happens, they're all sitting down discussing, and suddenly Zamasu comes in, opens those doors, he has the tea ready, and it's time for him to, start talking and everything is starting to come to that climax. And then the episode ends, which naturally the episode would end at this point, and leaving us with a great cliffhanger. But hey, it's leaving us with suspense. It's leaving us wondering exactly what's going to happen next. And there's a lot of things I have to wonder what's going to happen next, is the reason why we have Beerus and the Kaioshin there, along with Whis and Goku. Is it because some really big stuff is going to go down? Is maybe that connection that they talked about in the previous episodes, in which, the Kaioshin is connected to the God of Destruction? Is that maybe going to come into play? Or is Gawasu or is Zamasu maybe going to see the Supreme Kai, and he realizes he's outnumbered, but let's get rid of the biggest threat that we have right here in Beerus, and maybe he's going to target the Kaioshin and try and eliminate the God of Destruction from his path. It's kind of making me wonder if that's really what's going to happen, because I feel like that's a possibility, but I'll talk about that more in my predictions when I get to that video. As for this episode, again, I really liked it. There was some cool exposition. There was some more, establishing what Zamasu did with his plans, even though we could have kind of gathered that already. We don't see him do it in action, but it makes me wonder also if there is that kind of time paradox that's about to happen. Maybe they'll kill this Zamasu in the present, but if it's, the typical multiple timelines, multiple people existing at different timelines, I really doubt that it'll kill Zamasu in the future, especially if he's immortal. Maybe that immortality itself will cause Zamasu, to be basically exempt from being killed that way. Maybe basically what will happen is that Zamasu's body will be destroyed even in the future, and then he'll become this Goku Black character, and he himself will inhabit that body using the Super Dragon Balls again. It really, there's so much that's up in the air, but I like that. Like I said in my predictions, I really do like when these episodes are that, leaving us with an air of suspense. Now, would this episode have been a little bit better, say, if they had more action, or say if they had more plot action, plot development, and, things happening in that way? Of course, but this was more of a regrouping episode, an episode in which everyone basically gets together and they heal from the fight they just had, and they're thinking, what exactly do we do? Kind of like, say, what happened in the Buu saga after Vegeta died. Everyone went to the lookout and, Kami's palace, and they were all discussing, oh, maybe we can use this special technique, the fusion technique. Oh, we have to get the Dragon Radar. I'll show them Super Saiyan 3. Or in the Cell saga, after the initial fight with the androids, where everyone gets beats up, but the androids spare them for whatever reason, everyone's regrouping and thinking, and then Cell is introduced, and then they have the whole time when they're looking for Cell. So this is something that's happened in Dragon Ball for a while. I mean, even the bridge between the first arc of Dragon Ball Z and the second arc, the Saiyan and the Namekian arc. So I don't really think it's too bad that they're doing this lull, because we just got this great action that happened before. We just got all these revelations happening. And sometimes you kind of need to just, let it happen. Sometimes you kind of need to just watch it happen and watch it unfold. And I think this series or this saga would be going by faster and would be much more engaging if we were watching it, say, all the episodes back to back in that case, as opposed to watching them weekly, because especially with next episode. So we just kind of have to deal with that, I guess. and I can only hope that next week is going to be great too. So without let me know your own thoughts down below, because I would like to hear your thoughts on the episode as well. I enjoyed this episode, and I'm really looking forward to what's going to happen with this arc. But again, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section, and as I always say, stick around, because there is a lot more to come in the future.